kind of think he was the weekend jailer, because when I would come with my father here, it would be usually on the weekend to see one of his clients that was upstairs.
Okay.
So that's, I
And
count.
what time frame was it when your dad...
The 60s.
In the 60s, when your dad was an attorney,
Right.
and he represented some of the prisoners.
Yes, upstairs.
And he would bring you here.
He would bring me here. My mother was an invalid, basically, and so when my father would have me, time with me on the weekends, we would often have to incorporate some of his legal work with whatever the activity was we were going to do. So we would swing by here. He would see clients, and then we would go wherever out to the farm where he was from, in the lower part of the county, or whatever activity we were doing. But he would bring me here. I remember the first time he sat me with the jailer, whoever this man was. I can picture him, but I don't know his name. And they sat me under those steps over there to sit while my dad went upstairs where the prisoners were. And I sat there, and I was a little bit afraid of the jailer. And he was eating an apple at the same time he was dipping snuff. And he took a bite of the apple and asked me if I wanted a bite. And at that time, I took off up those steps to find my father, who was upstairs in this room, on the back, on the left. And after that, he always let me go up the steps with him. So,
And how old were you then?
I would say I was somewhere probably between 6 and 10.
Okay. Do you remember the layout of the
Yes.
rooms here? Can you explain that?
I remember that she would come through, and there was a desk where the jailer, the weekend jailer, sat right there, and a chair very much like this that sat beside it, looking this way. And that's where I would sit, and he sat there. Now, I remember these rooms, but I don't remember exactly what was in each room. I recall there was a desk at a high counter, like that you'd see like in a bank or something, at one time when this was the sheriff's department. If you remember that. And I think in this back room here, and I can definitely remember what the cells looked like upstairs. Yes.
Okay. Were there prisoners in any of the other rooms?
Okay, my prisoners on one side, and I remember there was as many as maybe 4 or 5 men in this one cell. I think Bob called it one time cages, because that's what they looked like upstairs. And I remember that was horrifying to me when I went upstairs to see it, because the jails that I had seen were ones on westerns with the round black bars, and these were not that, and they had painted them at that time. There was some kind of silver metallic paint that was, I'd heard it was leftover paint from something else that they had painted in the town, and they just needed to paint those old cages, those colors. But it didn't make it any less. I mean, it seriously was disturbing, because it did look like a cage and not an old Tommy Western jail. And I know at one point they had arrested a man who was from Cuba, I believe, or somewhere, on one of the ships that was coming into Sunny Point. And he was on the rotation for, ones that needed representation, that didn't have the money. And so I remember he came here to see that guy, and he was in that room, that he saw him. Trying to get someone to understand him. But generally, it was right up here. And there would be anywhere from 1 to, I think I've seen as many as 4 men in the cages.
Do either one of you remember hearing about breakouts from this jail?
But apparently it was a very relaxed kind of system, because he would come out, or he would demand to see his attorney, and they would let him out, because we lived 2 blocks on Bay Street, Illinois. And he would show up at our door and want to see my dad. And I can remember when my father was a judge, at one point he was like forbidden to come in the city limits anymore, because he just caused so much trouble when he was here. And I do remember that, I don't know if that was a joke or whatever, but that he sent James away, that he wasn't allowed to come back in the city limits.
He did cause some problems.
Do you have any other stories of law enforcement in the town other than the jail?
Yeah.
No major crimes or anything that you can remember? Libby, do you remember anything, without compromising your father's position, do you remember anything about law enforcement in Southport?
The only thing that I remember is that this was kind of like a hot spot. There was always some men standing out front smoking. When you came by, there was always someone hanging out there.
Was the fence around them?
The fence was not there, and then I remember after the fence seeing it back.
The high fence after a while.
Yeah, it wasn't there though when I was really little. Was it, Miss Trudy?
I don't think so.
Like the early '60s. I don't believe there was a fence around it. And the only crime that I remember that was shocking to me, and it was because didn't have it in Southport, but anyone who was arrested in Brunswick County was brought here.
Right.
And so at one point they called my dad to represent this man who had killed his 5 children.
Oh my Lord, no, I forgot that.
But anyway, so I remember that my dad came up here. We were supposed to go somewhere. He didn't let me come that time.
Yeah.
And he came up here and spoke to the man. And I remember that I don't know, I was too little really to understand it. But I remember him talking about, he just didn't know if he could do that one. He just didn't know that one was just the worst, case that he ever had to represent.
In the 60s?
Mm-hmm. Yes, in the 60s.
Well, it must be in that book.